Okay, right, welcome to this video, which is all about the Bonneville. Jumping back to the Bonneville. I haven't done much to it for a long time. Pretty much got it to where I wanted it. But as is the way, you're always thinking and tinkering and coming up with new ideas of what you might do with it. So this is what this video will be. I'm probably going to film it in little bits and bobs here and there while I'm waiting for bits in between the SR250. So for instance, this afternoon I've got as far as I can get with the SR250 today. I've got some bits to do, so I'm going to do the first kind of messing around with the Bonneville, but I'll just film bits and bobs. When it's all together in one video and finished, it's what you'll be seeing now. So there we go. As for the Bonneville, what's planned for it? Well, the side mount, that'll be coming. I'd quite like to put that on the little rear mudguard. Possibly some indicator mods with it. I mentioned about the projector indicators, so they possibly a little something I want to do with the mudguard, which is what we're going to front mudguard, which is what we're going to start with today. I've also been looking at LC Fabrication's well-done hardtail for a modern Bonneville, because there's a part of me that just wants to do a hardtail. I love hardtails. I've always loved hardtails. Trouble is, it's like, how's that going to sit for a daily ride? You know, I usually have my one and only bike, and if I'm lucky, a project on the go. The kind of long-term plan I had, or idea, was the SR250. That'll get built up, finished. I'll ride it for a couple of days, or just, you know, have a test riding it, you know, have fun. But then the idea is to move it on, hopefully make a bit of cash, cover what I've spent on it, and then pump a bit more into the next project, and so on and so forth, with the long-term goal of eventually building up a project to the point where I've done a bike and Jen goes, I really like that. It's probably going to have to be something like a Thruxton-y Scrambler-y type bike for her to do it, but I want her to go, I like that, I'll swap you the America for that. That's kind of like a, what should we say, a goal to try and achieve and reach. So it's pretty high bar I've set myself, because she loves that bike. But I'd love to hardtail that bike, and the cool thing would be I've got the Bonnie for, you know, kind of comfy riding, and then I get to tick me hardtail box as well. So who knows though, this is all kind of guesswork, speculation, what ifs, buts and maybes. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But yeah, so the first job I'm going to do now is the front mudguard, and as you may or may not know, I bobbed the stock mudguard, which on mine was the magwheel version, so it wasn't like the kind of really big with the struts T100 version. It was a slightly smaller one, but I got a sort of fiberglass blank and chopped it all down to what we have here. And it's fine, I love it, it looks great. It's suffered a little bit over the years, or year or so since I last kind of painted it and polished it. Crappy roadways out there, there's a little stone chip here, just a couple of little marks and scuffs, so I want to give it a refurb anyway. And the other idea I've had is kind of just changing where it mounts slightly. If that's the front of the mudguard as it sits at the moment, and we've got the 4 holes there, I want to plug these holes and then move the mudguard back, so they're the back holes, and then drill some new holes. So I have a very, very short front, but a little bit more protection at the back to stop the splash up, and I think it just looks a little bit more unusual that way. So I'll take it outside, show you visually what I mean on the bike, and get plugging. Alright, so there we go, that's how I'm running it at the moment. Sans mudguard, and then so that's how it normally sits, like that, and then I'm going to move everything back so it looks like that. So, see if we get a little view. So I quite like the look of that. I think it looks pretty groovy. So I think the plan is to go and get my fiberglass out, plug these holes, fill the tops with resin, smooth it all down, and when that's all set, time for a fresh coat of paint. Alright then. Okay, so the old trusty fast glass resin, and roll the matting. The plan is to cut up little bits of the matting and just make a kind of base along the bottom here, covering up these two holes. And I'm going to just put the old, because that seemed to work quite well when I did the seat pan, and I'm just going to put tin foil over the top here and just tape it down. Hopefully that will stop any kind of resin just glooping through and getting a big lump of it on here. When that side's dry, turn it over, take that off, and then the plan is just to literally mix up the resin on its own and kind of just drop fill into the shallow holes that are left, fill that back up, sand it nice and smooth, and let it dry, and then it will be just a case of drilling the other holes. So let's get started. Really not going to need much at all, I don't think, just enough to just mush down on there. Right, then I'll do the job. The fiberglass and resin over the top. It's going off already, so we'll leave that for a little while, and then peel the top off and blob it through with resin. Excellent. Right, so the holes are plugged and dried. They're just a little bit proud now, so I can sand them back and make it all smooth and solid and neat and nice. I should crack on with this, I guess, now, but I've had the postman deliver some goodies, which has distracted my attention. The side mount has arrived. Sort of, it can be either fitted that way, or take the light off, mount the light up here and the bracket on that side, or flip it round depending which side of the bike I want it on. So I'm going to have a little look and play, see if we can make this fit on the Bonnie. With the Predator pipes where they are, it doesn't give me much scope to put anything on the bottom shock mount bolt, so we'll have a look. Might have to go on the exhaust hanger bracket if it looks alright, but we'll see. As I said, this was a cheap auction on eBay. Didn't cost me a lot of money, and it's kind of handy, you know. And the other bit that's come is the old Gran Turismo style grips. See if we can get these to fit. They're a lot sort of that rugby ball shape, football shape type grips, a bit more chunky than the stock grips I've got on there, a little bit retro-y. I'm probably going to have to chop the ends out because I'm going to still run the bar end mirrors on it. I like those, so I'll need to chop the ends out to get them to fit. Don't know if I'm going to have to modify the stock throttle tube a little bit, because I know on there's like a lip where the grip kind of is moulded around, so I might have to kind of file that smooth to get it on. So yeah, we shall have a little look at that as well. So these are pretty solid, so I'm actually going to put these in some hot water for a bit, to see if I can soften them up a little, just for ease of stretching over the throttle tube and whatnot. But yeah, fun and games. Let's crack on. Right, in typical Cactus fashion, the mind has been changed again. The side mount, obviously that's drilled with a mounting on the rear axle bolt in mind. Obviously you can see there's no way that's going to happen because the pipe's there, so unless I want to fork out for a Zard 2 into 1 low just to mount this, then that's not going to work. I did wonder about on the exhaust mounting peg, the rear pillion peg bit, but when that's there it's a bit too close to where, because I tend to ride with on the balls of my feet, so my heel is going to be kicking it, so that's no good, and it won't fit on the bottom of the shock and it will just look stupid up there. So it's back to rethinking. So I'm thinking, take the light off and let's have a look what that's going to look like with the little chopped mudguard, with it just mounted straight onto that. So I'll go and get that and have a little bit of an eyeball as well. Right, okay, it's going to be a bit choppy this video because I filmed the first bit a few days ago. I'm doing it in between bits on the SR250. So what had I done last time? The mudguard, which, let's have a look, that's now been, holes are filled, I'm just giving it a keying off really, ready for the next lot of paint, so that's kind of ready to go. But in the meantime, what else was I going to do? I was going to put the side mount on, which I've decided not to do now actually. I did try it and it was a bit, I couldn't really get it to fit how I wanted it to. Just come around to the bike. It's kind of designed really to go on the back axle, but I kind of knew that it was going to fit because where the pipes are, so I had thought about fitting it somewhere around here on the bottom shock mount, but again where the pipe is, it kind of fouls it a little bit, and then obviously I was thought about maybe there, but it was then a bit too close to where because I sort of ride on the balls of my feet, so my heel was going to hit it there. So I've kind of sort of abandoned that idea for now. And also I thought the kind of bodge side mount I did on Jen's bike was alright, it did the job, but then I thought, well, it fits kind of instantly and easily onto the America, so it's gone on there now, and I think it just looks a bit nicer. So still humming and hawing about what I'm going to do with the rear mudguard. If I do even decide to put it on, I'm now having a few second thoughts about that. But yeah, these are all there. I'm not spending too much time thinking about this really. It's little odds and sods as and when, whilst I'm sort of waiting for bits for the SR. So the grips that were going to go on the Bonnie actually have ended up going on here now. So for now they're staying stock. But I'm going to still want to lower the clocks. The clocks are bugging me a little bit. You'll remember in previous videos I sort of started wanting to, that was on the horizon, to do something with that and lower them down. I mean, in an ideal world, little motor gadget would be absolutely beautiful, but also it's a beautiful bit of money to do that, which I simply haven't got. So we're going to go for the cheap version, which is to just simply mount the clocks underneath the yoke. Some longer bolts, mounting bolts going in here, so they'll just go from the top of the yoke underneath, and then this will sit under the yoke. And then just to kind of dress it up to make it look a bit nicer, so it's not just threaded rods exposed, I've got a bit of well, it's 8mm diameter alley tubing, and the bolts will slide along there, so that'll just you know, just dress it up a little bit nicer. If it all works out, I'll probably end up spraying this black, or depends how much on show they really are. But what I'm going to have to do first is, well, I'm going to move the headlight bucket out of the way just to give myself a bit more room, and then that's going to move down anyway, so it'll all be slammed a bit lower. So right, I'll just carry on dismantling all that, and we'll crack on. Okay, so this is the first sort of rough test fittings. So that's where the clocks are now repositioned. So you can see what was on about. They were on top of this section here, and that's just obviously the threaded bolts through, and then that's the bit I'm going to sleeve with the aluminium tubing, just purely just for cosmetic reasons. But so far so good. That seems, it's definitely a nicer profile on the clocks. They're not quite sort of jutting up as much. It's got just a bit more of a squat stance. There you go. So it's quite, I mean, even from the side it's nice. It's almost that laid down flat. I mean, I know you can get, I mean, there's all sorts of different binnacle arrangements you can get aftermarket and stuff now, you know, putting little LEDs in, but all that stuff costs money. I'd rather do something with a handful of bolts and a bit of tubing I've already got. And yeah, I think it's going to work out okay. Obviously, where the speedo cable is, the headlight's going to be dropped a fair bit lower, but I quite like that look as well. So hopefully that's all going to fit in okay. But right, I think I'll cut up the sleeves I need now. Right, there's the first sleeve cut down, and a little bit of profiling on the top there, because as you can see that's not a flat surface, so I could leave it flat, but then you're going to have that with a couple of bits of thread showing, which is not good enough for me. So that's profiled on, and then that covers it up. A treat. So just do the other three, and we're halfway there. Just got to try and mimic that profile exactly. Right, so that's that done. Yeah, clocks are lowered, everything's back together and buttoned up, and I think it looks a lot better. Went exactly as planned, which was quite nice. So that worked out. So yeah, let's have a look. So there we go. The clocks are dropped a lot lower than stock. So there we go. And I mean, they're so hidden, I'm not even going to bother spraying those up black. I'm quite happy for them to stay in that sort of alloy, you know. But they look nice and kind of neat, you know. Not too ghetto, you know, almost, yeah, sort of a bit custom. The headlight now is dropped down to, that's about just under 2 centimetres off the bottom yoke, so that's a fair bit lower. Let's try and get a side view of it. So yeah, they certainly, the clocks now, I mean, they just don't stick out like they used to, which I'm a lot happier with. Tell you what, I'll just pause it, let's wheel it outside and have a look in its entirety. But I think it's going to give it a much more, you know, slightly more aggressive as a Bonnie can get. Just a nicer stance to it. So cool, yeah, easy ghetto fix for pence. There we go. Yeah, I think that does give it a bit more of a bulldoggy kind of
look to it, rather than them sort of all flying high in the sky. Yeah, quite like that. God, the more I think about it, I'm quite liking this bike without a tail set, without a mud guard on it. I'm just wondering if that is going to happen or not. I don't know, it might do. Yeah, just look. I think it looks a lot neater. Just, yeah, I'm pretty stoked with that. Yeah, a bit more low profile. Nice. Right, there we go. That's fruits of this weekend's labour. Not an awful lot of labour because we've been out. The gang's been out putting some miles on Stu's new Harley. So yeah, really, if anything, I need to clean all the bugs off. But there we go. A little interlude. I'm not really sure how this video is going to pan out. I was going to do quite a few sections and then cobble it together in one video. So it was going to be the side mount, different grips, chop the front mudguard, rear mudguard, drop the clocks. But as I've worked through it, a few of those things have fallen off the list anyway. So I'll review what I've got already. Maybe it's Sunday night. I might stick up a little interlude Bonnie Love video. So there we go. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with the SR250 very soon. Some goodies and treats on the way.